Okay, here's something we want to talk about. A lot of people are asking me about this. Yeah, this is floating around. Joe Biden drained our strategic reserve to only 17 days of supply. Today, he canceled the refill order. Wow, that's all very spooky. First of all, it's not 17 days of supply. To give you a little context here, 3 weeks ago, the Biden administration came out and said they were going to refill the SPR this year. Yeah, all of it this year. And I immediately made a video. And in that video, I said this: we're going to do it all this year. Now I'm going to tell you why I don't support that and why it's a bad idea. Here's why I didn't support it. First of all, it was going to raise oil and gas prices. And here's what has happened to oil prices since they made that announcement. They made the announcement right here. Oil is right here. It's gone up by like $10 a barrel. Yeah. This price is why they just canceled the latest order for the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. They didn't cancel filling up the whole reserve. They just canceled one order because the price point went above what they're willing to pay for it. They're still going to refill the SPR. As far as the whole 17 days of supply thing, that is ridiculous. The only way that would be 17 days of supply is if all global oil production was lost and went to zero immediately. All U.S. production went to zero and all imports went to zero. Like everything goes to zero, then it's 17 days of supply. There's only one scenario where everything goes to zero: a nuclear holocaust. If that happens, we don't need the oil from the SPR. It's probably gone anyway. Oil in the SPR is measured in days of import protection. That's its purpose, to protect us from import disruptions. We are currently at 142 days. We are required legally to be at 90 days. So we are well over our required legal obligations when it comes to how much oil we need to have in the SPR. Other reasons I didn't support it: we're producing more oil and natural gas than any country in the history of the world. Right now, we're importing less oil than we've imported in the last 30 years. Why do we need to suddenly fill up the SPR that took us 30 years to fill the first time and then 15 more years after that just to use? So I said, this is going to raise oil prices. This is going to raise gas prices, and it's not needed. We're energy independent. Now, sure, I do support filling the SPR, but we don't have to do it all right now. We can wait for a low price environment. That's what's best for the taxpayers, which is why they canceled this latest order, because oil went over $85. If you remember, they started at 70. Yeah. As in, they when they started refilling it, they said they would buy at 70. Now it's at 85. In addition, in that video, I predicted all of this. I predicted all of this would happen. I said they'll come back and they won't do it because it's going to raise oil prices and they won't buy the oil for that price. So to summarize, we're meeting all of our obligations with the current levels that are in the SPR because we're energy independent. We're producing more oil than any country in history and more natural gas than any country in history. We don't need it right now. Secondly, it's only going to raise oil prices. Just like pulling oil out of the strategic reserve lowered oil prices, putting oil back in it is going to raise oil prices. Raising oil prices in the spring and summer when oil and gas prices are already going to be rising is not a super genius fucking thing to do. That's not a great idea. And as I said, I do support refilling the SPR. We just need to wait until there's a low price environment to do it. And once that time comes, we can fill it up as fast as we want. I also didn't like the decision because I felt like he was making yet another decision to appease voters. Voters that know nothing about the subject. Voters that know nothing about the SPR. They know nothing about the energy needs of the United States. They know nothing about world energy markets. And he's making a decision to refill the SPR in 1 year to appease voters. It was not a data-driven decision. It was a decision made to appease voters. And that was the main reason I opposed it. You don't make decisions to appease voters because voters don't know the reasons you have to make these decisions. They're fed misinformation daily by the media and politicians. You don't appease them. You take the data you have in front of you and you make an informed decision. They're not informed. It's not your job to appease voters. It's your job to make the right decision, whether they like it or not. And then it's your job to explain to them why you made the decisions you made so they can understand. Because the media is not going to tell them the truth, and most politicians aren't going to tell them the truth. That's how you run a country, right there. It's not that hard. Thanks.